Manga.
It was Christmas season. There were Christmas lights all over the town, and it was freezing out, but everyone was walking around with a big warm smile. Oh well, everyone except for me. I hated Christmas. It reminds me of something terrible that had happened to me years ago. I was in second grade at the time. It was Christmas Eve. I was out with my family. We were going out to a nice restaurant. We were waiting at this intersection.
You think Santa will come?
Yeah, but only if you've been a good girl.
Oh, Satsuki, don't worry. I'm sure Santa will come. You're the sweetest girl ever.
Yeah? Yay!
I was having a great time with my family, but then someone pushed my mom from behind. She went flying towards the road and got hit by a car. It all happened so fast.
She got run over. Call 911.
People started to panic. My dad and my brother rushed over to her. I couldn't move though. I just stood there, crying. Then, one of the guys behind me grabbed the guy who pushed her. Then, the driver came out.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. She came out of nowhere.
Then he fell to the ground and started crying. Someone called 911 for us. A few minutes later, the cop arrived. The guy who pushed her was screaming. I couldn't believe this was happening to me.
Mom, please don't die.
I ran towards Mom as they carried her into the ambulance. Dad pulled me away from her. I couldn't stop crying. Then the cops arrested the guy who pushed her. The next day, there was an article about the accident on the newspaper, but it just said a woman in her 30s got run over by a car. It didn't say anything about the guy who pushed her. The guy who did it was a total stranger. He didn't even know my mom. He used to be homeless or something. After Mom came home from the hospital, these guys from the homeless support group came over to our house. They started telling me about the guy who pushed my mom. He was a local business owner, but his company went under a few years ago. He got a new job right afterwards to pay off his debt, but he got fired in less than a year. He had to get a job, but the economy was rough, and he was already in his 50s. He couldn't find work anywhere. He was unemployed and got up to his neck in debt now. His wife and daughter left him soon afterwards. He decided to make a run for it. He started living at one of those internet cafes, but soon he ran out of money and he had no choice but to live out on the streets. He built a small shed near the river and spent the next few years there. Then, the guys from the homeless support group found him and took him in. So, why did he push my mom into the street? According to him, he did it because he felt lonely. But it was Christmas season, and there were happy families everywhere, and this pissed him off. And my mom, she reminded him of his ex-wife. That's why he chose her. He knew it wasn't her, but he didn't care. But then, the guys from the support group said to us,
Look, he's a victim in all this too. Will you settle? Yeah, please give him another chance.
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The guy was charged with attempted murder, so he was going to jail for sure. But if we settle, they were willing to reduce the sentence to 3 years or so. My mom was fine, by the way. She had a thick coat on and a thick scarf around her neck, so she went unconscious for a bit, but it was nothing serious. She only had to stay at the hospital for 3 days. Then, one of the guys said,
Look, you got a loving family, and you were able to come home in 3 days. But him? He's got nothing. And if you don't settle, you might end up in jail for 5 years or more. If that happens, he'll never be able to get back on his feet, so please, give him another chance.
He started begging us to settle. Then my dad said to him,
You guys got a family too, right? Would you say the same thing if he came after your wife? Will you still give this guy another chance, huh?
He asked them. They paused for a second, then said,
But your wife, she was fine. I'm just saying.
He mumbled under his breath. My dad finally lost it.
How dare you! Get the hell out! Never come here again!
My dad never raised his voice like this. We were in the other room, but we could hear him loud and clear. He kicked them out of the house. Then,
Get me some salt.
he asked my brother to grab some salt from the kitchen. He threw them at them on their way out. I was watching the entire thing from my room upstairs. For some reason, I couldn't stop crying. And my dad and my brother, they were crying too. Mom was really upset too. She stayed in her room for the rest of the day. The guys from the support group never came to our house after that. Needless to say, we didn't agree to any deals. We pressed full charges. The guy got sent to prison for a very long time. Personally, I think it was way too short, but whatever. I was just glad that he was gone. We were relieved, but then something unexpected happened. We started getting these hate messages. She probably did something to deserve it. Get out of this town, you slut. And it went on and on like that. Then it got worse. Someone started shoving garbage in our mailbox, and this one time, someone put a dead cat in there. This went on for a while, but a month later, they finally caught the guy who was doing all of this. My dad caught him red-handed. He found him putting up hate messages on our door one evening. It was that guy from the homeless support group.
I did nothing wrong. All I asked was to give him another chance, but they pressed full charges.
He said to the cops. A few months later, the homeless support group got dissolved. Not sure why exactly. I heard rumors that they always went a bit too far with their cause, so maybe that's why. Fast forward 20 years, I still had flashbacks from time to time during Christmas season, but this year, it was different, and I knew why. I was about to have a baby, and I was due on Christmas Eve. For the first time in 20 years, I had something to look forward to on Christmas.
Thank you for watching all the way to the end. What did you think of today's episode? Leave a comment and let me know your thoughts on today's story. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe.